All right, so everybody, I wish I really had the Muhammad Ali, the bongo drums. Boom, 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 boom. The champ is here. The champ is here. We are joined today. There it is.
Yeah.
And Dan, thanks very much. I know that we pulled you away from your Hearthstoning for a bit, and you.
Don't worry about it. I wouldn't be playing it.
You got you got a haircut. You shaved up for this. I know.
Yeah,
big appearances. Big.
My girlfriend gave me a haircut before Thanksgiving, and she does not cut hair often, but she did a pretty good job. I'm happy with the result. It was.
Where's the champ tank top? Is it retired? Is it like did you hang it up like a Michael Jordan jersey?
No. It's just like in a closet or some shit.
Oh man.
I don't like wear the same shirt every day.
No, but it's so iconic now.
I know. No, dude. You don't understand. Like, I can't believe that thing exists.
I remember it was like a couple months before Worlds even was going on, and I get this message in my Skype, and it's just like this link, and it's just like, look at this, I'm going to order this right now, and I'm like, who's this guy setting? What's it? Click, and it's like Dan's the champ, and I'm like, oh my god, how does this guy find these things?
Dude, because my friend who came with me to Worlds, he's like in like semi-professional wrestling circuit, right? And he just knows this guy whose name in wrestling is Dan Champion, and he's got shirts made. And it's wrestling, so it's a tank top, so it's just like double awesome. It's got my name on it. I got to call myself a champion before I even won. Like, I'm like, I'm gonna wear this on day 2 of Worlds, and I'm gonna win the tournament.
Yeah. Do you attribute your win to the shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would too.
Well, I'm getting one next year. That's all I know.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we can put the link in the videos. we can do some cross promotion of semi-professional wrestling.
All of a sudden, these tank tops are like stock in them is through the roof.
I don't know if you can even like buy them on the internet or anything.
Well, get on that, man. You need
I'm checking for you guys. Yeah, you can. You can buy it on the internet. It's only $15. I'll put the link to you guys in the Skype.
That's for all you guys that are watching, we'll put the tank top, the legendary shirt into the.
You really can't buy it unless your name is Dan. Otherwise,
you got a year to work on that. We got technicalities. We got a whole year.
The name changing process is not too difficult in most countries.
So, Dan, how does it feel right now, man? Are you getting bombarded?
No, dude, I'm bombarding everybody else. Like, I'm so into the game right now, and I'm just like going around doing as much as I can, trying to build up the game, trying to make StimHack better, trying to like organize people, do like events, all kinds of shit. So, no, I mean, I don't think I'm getting like totally bombarded. At least it doesn't feel like it. It feels like I'm just like super involved. It's awesome.
So is there any? I know there's a bunch of people that might not have caught your, your write up that you did. So do you want to just give a quick recap about what went down at Worlds? So you were playing Replicating and Andy and.
Yeah. Okay, so I was playing Replicating. I was playing Andy. Same decks I played at regionals, for the most part. A few changes, like I took Parasites out of Andy, added like RDIs, an extra Croter, some quality time, stuff like that, to make it better against Nearathub. One Express Delivery to help set up faster, which is a card I don't like at all, but I thought it was like necessary for what the tournament was. Like, it's not like a really, really bad card. It's just like a pretty inefficient card that I'd rather, find my card some other way if possible. But the influence was just too important. I think John Matsunori is probably better. I think I like Min's Andy deck better than mine. And then the RP deck I just played because it's good against. So like I'm cutting Parasites from Andy to beat NEH, right? So that's exactly what you don't want to do against RP. So, and that's similar for like Kate. Like Kate, some people cut Data Suckers, or we're playing like less Atman, more Other Breakers. all kinds of stuff like that, and that's all bad news against RP. So I played RP because all the the direction that the runner decks were shifting in was, good for RP. So I played it.
Now, do you think that there was any special cards that you needed to put into your deck that you normally wouldn't have in there to take on
the metagame?
Yeah, almost, because Worlds, those first couple rounds you could get paired up with anything, right?
Well, that's why I played Andy, honestly. Yeah. So I thought the game was better against Near Earth Hub. I thought that there were Andy lists that existed that were better than against Near Earth Hub than the deck that I played. But I played a deck that was relatively close to a deck that I've played before, that I have a good amount of experience with, that I know is the best possible deck against any tier 2 deck. Like, if you're playing against any deck that's not one of the best decks, you want to be playing Andy. It happened in this case that I think maybe Andy had one of the best shots against the best decks too. Maybe, not really sure, but basically, when you want to beat stuff like random Tenon deck, random Weyland deck, at least for me, I just want to be playing Andy. I play it the best, and I think that just the amount of consistency that it gives you means that somebody who's playing a worse deck than you, or somebody who's just worse in the game than you, is just not going to have a chance to beat you on you didn't get the right draw or something like that.
So I'll also throw your link down in the description, and in your write-up, you have your deck list listed and stuff like that. And I know this is going to sound like a weird question because you won, but is there anything you would have changed from your decks?
Yeah. Honestly, if I was if we're gonna change my runner deck, I'm not sure exactly the changes that I would have made, but I would have played Min's runner deck and not mine.
Really?
It was better. It was better. The medium is insane against Near Earth Hub. I thought, I want to add quality time because it lets you set up faster against Near Earth Hub. Those two influence spent upgrading RDI to medium, fucking amazing. It really tears them apart. Because they can ignore an RDI sort of for a while because they can just I'm up a few points, I can draw fast track. I can just draw off my ability and potentially find more agendas than you can get to, and they can just ignore that. When medium gets a few counters on it, especially if you can get in once a turn, there's nothing they can do. You're just digging much faster than they are after them at that point. You cut off their third draw or whatever, the free draw from the NEH ability, by digging deeper than an RDI would. So I think that was better. I think the John Mastinori was the right call. I was sort of afraid to play it because, like you said, against the randomer decks, against CI or something, or Weyland, it can be dangerous. You might not want to always install it. Quality time's more consistent, but for that tournament, I think you really needed to gun for Near Earth Hub to win. It was just it's just too powerful of a deck, and playing stuff like John Mastinori, Bank Job, all those cards were really good for him. And Feedback Filter, I played against PE 3 times, won twice, lost in the finals, and I would have, if I had known about the Feedback Filter, John Mastinori security testing, sort of combo deck against PE, I would have played that. That was really good.
Do you think that maybe the medium was a nice call because of the free turn when they purge too?
Oh yeah, it's not Andy runs so efficiently. She can get into R&D basically every turn against a deck like Near Earth Hub where none of the ice costs a ton to break. So, you play medium. There's no option to purge. They can purge every other turn, and then you're seeing 90% of the cards to their 10, and it's just the reason the purge is obviously a disadvantage. If they couldn't purge, it'd be better, but the purge option against decks that can just continuously get in like that is not it's not relevant enough. You'll do it, and it's better than if you didn't do it, but not that much better.
Right.
You're still losing.
Right. Any surprises that you saw in the field, other than the the Blue Sun that really powerhoused its ways through? But
let me think. Okay, so no, I think it was pretty much what I expected.
Yeah.
I think there were a few decks that I was surprised did well, the Tenon deck, and then somebody did pretty well with an off the grid Mushin Blue Sun deck in Swiss, but then top 16. There were a few other outlier decks. Blue Sun, not as surprising. Basically I knew that all those decks sort of would exist. I didn't know that, and I still don't know, like, were they really good or just some one person had some, good games with them or something. Like, those decks, I figured, like, they could work. I didn't think they were that good. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But it's not, like, terribly surprising to see 10 infest events. It won regionals, like, multiple times. So, no huge surprises. The biggest surprise for me was Min's Corp deck. It was really, really, it was brutal. And, I took PE seriously, but, like, his changes were really, I think, pretty good. Especially
Yeah, I don't think there's anything you can say to take away what he did with that deck at all. Another thing I found interesting was you were probably one of the, I mean, there's probably out there, but, I mean, because of where you were and stuff like that, I didn't see very many currents in play. You were probably one of the only person, and it's probably because of the replicating perfection style and stuff.
Well, most of them are very good.
Yes, I mean, but...
like, you didn't see much HB Glacier, but if it was there, they would have it.
Right, but I mean, again, I was surprised that people didn't throw a couple currents, like one or something current in there just to cancel out, right? Like, because the Shaper one's not bad, right?
You're
like,
right. No. Actually, in prepaid, I was playing One Net Celebrity because you can same old thing it. So, like, if they ever, if they ever do play ELP, if it's, like, really giving you trouble, you can recur and cancel out their current. Get you, like, uncompress your clicks, sort of. I think the issue, and also in prepaid, Net Celebrity is almost always free. I don't know. You could do it. I guess, like, the people who are winning with prepaid didn't. None of the other decks really, it works very well on. So, I mean, I guess Nazir, but it's just not a good deck.
Yeah. But I was just surprised. I mean, do you think, what's your thoughts on currents going forward? Does it all depend on what we get? I know we've seen a couple people try the criminal one out in the Leela Patel and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the worst one. It's absolutely even the worst card. It's such a bad card. There's a lot of them that are like, there's a few of them that are borderline, like the Weyland one that gives you credits. Manhunt is actually a really, really powerful effect, and I think it's the second best current. I think it's better than Net Celebrity. Mostly you just play Net Celebrity to cancel out other currents. If Manhunt becomes, like, a big deal after, a clock comes out and Fast Advance isn't as big of a thing, maybe you want to play Manhunt and MDN instead. Maybe that starts to make a splash, but realistically, you're playing Net Celebrity to cancel out better Corp currents.
Right.
ELP is the one that's seeing play right now. Manhunt, I think, is good enough to see play. And the Weyland one, I don't know, it probably isn't. It's okay, but it just doesn't stack up too well with the other options, I don't think.
Yeah, it's waiting for something else that's just not here.
Yeah, I think, like, for core Weyland to actually make a comeback, they need to have a recurring transaction or a really efficient way of recurring transactions. Like, Jackson's not bad, but it's not enough to, like, compete with Blue Sun's economy. So I think for core Weyland to come back, they need to make a better... It's not going to be whatever it's called, the Weyland current. That's not the one that you need to make that deck good again.
I've seen a couple experimentations with the Jinteki one.
See, no, you can't play that card ever. Like, you can't play Corp cards that sometimes don't do anything. You just can't. There's no room in the Corp decks. Like, Snatch and Grab, it looks good. Like, you can kill a Cage with a lot of money. You can get pretty far ahead. But if that card potentially just does nothing. So if you want to win on a consistent basis, you don't want to play cards like that, because you can win the game as the Corp without playing that card, and you should try to if you can, because you don't want to play dead cards ever. That one, like, the fact that it's dead against the best runner and not great against the second best runner, that's not good enough.
No, I can see that. Caleb, you got any questions you want to tap in here?
Yeah, actually, I'd like to talk about something. So going forward now, so seeing what we've all seen in the spoilers and that sort of thing, do you foresee yourself sticking with RP and Andy with the Store Championships coming up?
Well, I'm not. I foresee myself sticking with Andy to one degree or another. I'm going to try out, like, Valencia and Max, and I'm going to try them a lot. I don't know that either of them are better than Andy. So for a tournament, I'm not sure whether one of them will be better than Andy for me to take to a tournament at whatever point. Maybe. I think Andy is versatile enough that most of the time, like, however the court meta changes, you're going to be able to build an Andy deck. But Max's ability is really powerful. So if it gets to the point where Anarch is close enough to criminal and power level as a faction, the ability on Max is good enough to be to compete with Andy. So maybe. In terms of RP, I already got away from it. I found a deck that beats it. I'm telling everybody about it, and I don't want to play it anymore. RP is retired.
So what would that deck be?
Secret. It's a secret. No, it's not.
You just said you were telling everybody.
I know. I'll tell you guys. Okay, it's Stealth Andy. Stealth Andy crushes it.
Really? You're using stealth inside Andy, huh?
Yes. Okay, so here's the idea. The idea is twofold. First of all, Switchblade beats the shit out of RP. It's just like, you look at blank half their ice. And then the other thing about it is, there's three things. Okay, so Switchblade beats the shit out of RP. You have like a decoder problem in Criminal, and Refractor is just a really good decoder. So it like sort of, you're like, oh, like you didn't want to play Zoo or Green Blade. The cards aren't like as good as Yogg was, so it's like a downgrade, and you got to spend more influence. So if you really didn't want to play that card too badly, either of them, you end up like with this like sort of code gate hole in your deck where you need to install sometimes 2 decoders just to break 1 Lotus Field piece of ice, because the other options weren't good. Refractors are really good. And then the other thing is the recurring credits make John Massanori and security testing even better than they already were. Because even if they ice up all of their servers, it's almost guaranteed that with recurring credits, you'll be able to get into one of them for free.
So as a side note there, you talk about bringing in Refractor as your decoder. Are you not happy with Rex and Passport then? I've seen some people experimenting with the dogs and stuff, right? And
okay, so for a deck that's like more focused on just central servers, I don't mind that combo at all, and it's influence free. There's something to be said for that. The dog is a little bit underpowered for my taste. It's okay. You can play that Breaker Suite. I think it makes more sense maybe in Gabe, where you're okay just playing like a few passports, 1 dog, and if you need to get into the remote, you get the dog. But most of the time, you just want to get in centrals. Maybe it's fine in Andy too, but the stealth isn't just good because of Refractor. The recurring credits from the cloaks are just awesome. Like they're more consistently great than Data Suckers.
What were you using for your barrier? Did you touch on that? Did I miss that? Just Corroder? Yeah, because I've never been a fan of what Black Hat is. That card was kind of got hyped up a bit.
There's not really enough influence for it.
No, it gets a little out of control. That's why I don't think you can run a full stealth.
It overloads your stealth credits to play all 3. Like you don't have enough influence to be splashing like much more than Cloak. I'm just playing Cloak and Refractor. Those are and Ghost Runner, I guess. I don't want to stress the stealth credits too hard. Black Hat's okay. I could try it, but I think the Corroder is probably better.
So how many copies of each one of these splashed-in breakers are you using?
Well, there's only one Corroder, 1 Refractor. That's it. I don't like playing with extras.
Okay, and then you just special order?
Yeah.
And then kind of hope that it doesn't get discarded, or what?
You just don't let it. You just play good. Well, what? Like you don't. Like, you're against Jinteki. They have things on the table. Don't draw a card last click, unless you're gonna die because you could draw unless you got all your breakers out. Stuff like that. You just gotta be like really careful, and then you won't. You have Fairy, and then if you do, you have a backup decoder for Refractor. Even if you can't get into Code Gate remotes, you can still win the game with just a passport. So really, and you can have multiple copies of Switchblade. So it's really only decoder you have to Corroder that you have to not lose, and you have silencers to protect from power shutdown and Cloak and Fairy. So I think it's fine.
Yeah, Hollis is in the chat right now, and he's saying that he's heard there's at least 10 other people trying to make this Andy stealth build. So I guess it's
I'm telling everybody about it. Half of them I told about it. It's good. You don't have to make it work. It already works. You can make it better, but it already works. It's out of ID. It's into the fray.
And Dean jumped in here and he's telling you don't even bother trying Black Hat. He said
I didn't bother trying it.
The math doesn't go.
I don't know how much influence it costs. It's not Corroder.
It's not.
I didn't really even look.
No, it's not. It's not worth it.
I'll look at this right now. I think that it's too many influence, and I think that you can't splash enough stealth to make it good.
No, because I think that's the definite drawback there. Is like you're saying you're stretching out your stealth credits, right? Like,
Yeah, it's 3 influence, so it's 1 more than Corroder. You already like don't. I mean, you could do that. You could. It's got 4 strength. The thing is, it's actually not even very efficient if you look at it. Like it costs like similar to Corroder to break Eli, which is the most important one. It pumps 2 credits for 1 strength, which is really bad against Curtain Wall. Because it's only 3 strength. You gotta pump it like 7 times, like 14 fucking credits? No way. Yeah, this card's just because of Curtain Wall, this card's unplayable.
Yeah, and then Brandon from Cork Draw, he's chilling in the chat, and he said, yeah, he's like, now everyone's definitely going to make it since you just came on and told people to.
Sure.
The champ has spoken, right?
It's good. Go play it. It's fun. You won't feel as guilty playing it as you would if you played Data Sucker Andy, but it's like as good. So you get like all the benefits of winning all the time because you're Andy, and like none of the shit taken from your friends for playing Andy.
That's
and then it's gonna win 3 tournaments, and then you're gonna take at least as much shit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Are you releasing the deck list anywhere? Can our fine bad publicity chat room people?
You guys figure it out. It's not that hard. Go on my Meteor, and then you can steal it. It's got 2 Ghost Run. I'll tell you all the hard things. It's got the full set of Masanori and security testing. It's got 1 quality times 2 RDIs, all the breakers, 2 fairies, 2 switchblades, and then like after that the regular criminal shit. And I don't know. You can like take your picks of all like the little crappy events like infiltration, emergency shutdown, inside job, whatever you want to play. I'm playing more inside jobs because you take a little longer to set up. So I'm doing 2 inside job, no emergency shutdown, 1 same old thing, and then the rest of it is like Andy. So
I'm just trying to milk you for the exclusives while I got you on here. You know,
you got to be able to figure out the rest.
I do it all for the ratings, special releases.
Yeah.
BP Live right here.
It's just like it's posted on StimHack. I don't know. You know what? Somebody just won a tournament with it, and it's going up on StimHack as soon as they update it. So look for it as a tournament in the Philippines, and he played a pretty close list.
Is it like, were you talking with him about it, or did he?
Yeah, he asked. He was like, "So I'm playing in a tournament, and I keep losing to RP with Andy. How do I beat it without not losing the Neurotop?" And I said, "Try this deck." And he said, "I went undefeated with it. It won. I beat RP." And I said, "Great, it worked."
I'm sure somebody can once this goes live find it and post it in the comments below. There'll be some.
I'll just give you a list for it. Just like.
Hey, I got people that are asking, man. I'm just the voice of the people.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like first draft or second draft. It's not optimal probably, but it's close enough.
So, are you seeing this competitive against other builds or that you're seeing these days?
So I haven't played it at all against Neurotog, but it's playing 3 Masanori, 3 testing, and 2 RDI. So I think you probably got 40% at least. Which is fine. It's like not a lot of decks just beat NEH a whole lot, so
Yeah.
you take your 40% and be happy with it.
Yeah. It's a dice roll sitting across from them at all times. So.
Yeah. Play your RDI and cross your fingers.
Yeah,
you know what? If you got medium, you'd probably be better off. If you want to play Min's deck to beat NEH, play my deck to beat RP.
I think your best way to beat Near Earth Hub is when they offer you the cut, just cut it properly.
That's pretty important.
So what about anything else you're hyped about? You think we're going to see a big insurgence of Anarch? And
regardless of whether or not it's awesome, you're going to see 1 million people playing it. Because all this new stuff.
Yeah, and have you gone through the lists about what's coming and stuff?
Yeah.
Anything that jumps out at you from the runner side, or?
Steelskin, Max, Valencia, Eater, along with like Keyhole, and then the knifey spoony shit. It might be good, I'm not sure.
I always think The Simpsons.
I know, knifey spoony. Right? That's the deck. I see you played knifey spoony before.
yeah. I just can't wait to say that against somebody when they.
It all the time. I'm already saying it all the time in situations where it makes literal no sense to people who don't play Netrunner. Because I'm just that excited.
So do you think, what's your thoughts on the on Eater as a breaker then? Do you like that style? Like going in and then accessing nothing?
Well, you get the Keyhole, you get the Wanton Destruction, You get to siphon if you want to do that. You get to.
Yeah, so it's basically going to help with card effects, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think like the idea would either be to play like just eaters and then maybe knights to get in if they get their ice res. You can blow up ice with parasite, fork, knife, spoon. You could maybe even play like a Crypsis or something if you wanted to do that sort of thing, and then stim hack in. You have a BP, so you can make like better use of stuff like Knight, where it's like normally a little bit expensive, but if you need to get in, and then if you're Valencia, I keep talking like you're Valencia. You can play it in Max too, but in Valencia you can play blackmail. So if you just like pound HQ and R&D and like don't run really on other servers if you don't need to, you could just blackmail into like archives after you keyhole them a bunch, or blackmail into the remote. And you're an Anarch, so you can recur it with like Deja Vu and stuff.
Right.
All kinds of options.
So what are your thoughts going forward when it comes to two cards, Swordsman and Chronos Protocol?
Okay, so I like Chronos Protocol in PE because you play a long game and a lot of time they rely on Levy. And also Shaper relies on recursion, like Deus Ex, Parasite are both really good against PE. So I like it there. I don't like it much in other places, mostly because it's a 3-1 and you can't fit 3-1s.
Even with the imminent Anarch threat now looming.
What are you gonna do? Like you can't fit. You can't unless it's like total. Unless exactly max is totally everywhere. I mean, like you can play it. You can't really play it outside of, I would say, like HB Fast Advance and Jinteki PE, and that's the only places that kind of card will fit. Maybe against. Maybe in Tenon Fast Advance, but then your Fast Advance is taxed. You want to just score a clone retirement. So I don't think just because it's a 3-1, it doesn't have a place in other decks really.
Yeah, no, just for the effect, obviously, right?
Well, you don't want to. I don't think you want to play it just for the effect if it's going to fuck up your agendas.
Yeah.
Do you see corporations' style changing to deal with some of these cards? Like Caleb said, do you think Swordsman's going to need to come back stronger than it is?
Well, you can. The nice thing about Swordsman is it's like a minor tax. You can play one of them in RP. It's not bad. If they're playing Anarch, it's going to be pretty good. Mimic is sort of everywhere because of Architect right now, but still, like you can play Swordsman. I played a Swordsman in RP before, so yeah. I mean, I don't think you're going to see like Swordsman everywhere, but in Jinteki decks you can play it. Probably just like RP and maybe Tenon. Like I don't think I'd play it in PE. It's not really where you want to be.
You're not going to take it out of faction?
No, it's not that good. I don't think. I mean, you could do it. It's just one influence, so I wouldn't do it, but you could do it.
Do you have any thoughts on the Weyland side of the coin? I know a lot of the hype has been about all the Anarch.
Yeah, I think most of the Weyland cards are just bad. I don't like much of them. The most interesting one to me, there's two of them that are really interesting to me. The 9-6 agenda, I have no idea if it's any good for any reason, but it's just so out there that like it seems like the sort of effect you could maybe break somehow. Like obviously you can punitive them if they steal it and then just win the game, which is pretty sweet. So if you're like playing a punitive deck, that's pretty sweet. I mean, it makes punitive a lot better if you just play like I don't know how many it is, 5 3-pointers or like 4 3-pointers in an Atlas or something, and then one of that. You're just playing like no agendas in your deck, and the one can just kill them on the spot.
Yeah, I haven't really given that much thought to wrap around it, but I think it's definitely something people are going to have to think about, because it's definitely a card style that we haven't seen before, like a point value that high. Right?
Exactly, that's why I think it's interesting. Like, you have to consider the opportunity cost of putting your card in your deck, like sort of like, the Jinteki current that blanks their idea ability. Like the card that you'd be playing over that would be like an economy card, and like it's going to be way more often that you just wanted like, another restructure or something, rather than that effect at any given time that card's in your hand. But when you talk about a 9-6 agenda, when you play that card, it frees up a card slot in your deck. So like even if the card isn't very good, just the fact that you get an extra card in your deck that you really want to be playing is a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
the other one
that density you're cutting down, you cut
your agenda density down, exactly. you don't cut your point density down.
No.
But you cut your agenda density down. So
Yeah.
if you're playing a combo or something, you can have room for another ice. I don't know. It's just something to think about. The fact that you have to evaluate the card based on what happens to your deck when you play that card. And in that case, you get like an extra econ or an extra ice or something like that. And that's a big deal. So versus a card that has, say, like a more side benefity effect in a corp deck where it's not helping you, say, protect your servers when you don't have ice in the beginning of the game. It's not getting you money to res your ice. It's not helping you score an agenda. Those cards are difficult to fit in a deck.
What about the IDs?
The Weyland IDs?
Yeah.
Okay, so the only one I really like is the one that gives you an extra advancement, an extra agenda counter. So Atlas has one of the best agenda counters in the game. Like Atlas, Nisei, Astroscript. Those are the best 3 agenda counters. So if you think about, like, say, Weyland Fast Advance or Weyland Never Advance, like, one of the big issues with Weyland was you're not very threatening in your remote unless you actually advance something. If you just put an Atlas down in a remote and don't advance it, it's fine, have a 3-2. You can't score out the rest of the game doing that. Like, I'm going to win before you if you just do that. So I don't have to even run that. Now you threaten to get the Atlas counter without advancing. So that means that, like, you can install something. Maybe it's you have extra influence. So this is, like, very doable. Maybe it's a snare. Maybe it's an Atlas. It's a really big deal if you don't guess wrong about that. So just threatening that is, I think, pretty good. And extra influence, as we see with New York Thub, is great too. You can splash Biotic Labor if you want. You play Weyland Fast Advance now that you can just chain your Atlases.
Yeah, and it's sorry, go ahead, Caleb.
I was going to say, we've seen it with Sands already.
Sure.
Somebody proxied that up, yeah. It was pretty formidable.
Yeah, I bet. Sand's even better because that's another thing you can put in a server and not advance. And when you can, we saw that with MBN, I think, forever, is that, like, when you install a card as MBN, you're the most threatening identity with that. Like, with Kentucky, is the opposite. Like, you don't want to run that thing when it's not advanced necessarily, because it's probably only a 1-pointer, and, like, you could get really hurt by running it. Like, when you can install something and not advance it, it turns your Jackson Howards and potential important agendas, your snares, your sands, like any acid economy that you're playing, all kinds of that shit just looks like agendas all of a sudden. And that's really taxing on the runner to have to, especially if there's an expensive remote, come in and check. And if it's like a sand and they want to go trash it, that's even more expensive.
I think what a good point about what this box and the corp side is going to introduce to the game is that, like you touched on, the influence that goes into these IDs. Weyland is actually going to be able to have some, I don't want to say great and amazing ice, but at least they'll have choices now to not have to use influence on ice, and they'll be able to bring in use some of that influence on all the little toys and tricks that you can now build in there, whether if you want to take some of the fast advanced tools and put it in there, if you want to take some of the traps style, put it in there, you want to make a better kill style.
You can play Architect if you're playing San, and you can get the Alice counter. You can splash Architect. I think one of the best things about Blue Sun, like sort of like a hidden benefit, I guess, is that normally in Weyland you've got like this ice problem where you don't have enough really good ice in faction. Blue Sun makes Hive, Taurus, and Curtain Wall all awesome, which just filled out the Weyland ice curve. And I think that it was like the sort of X factor in making Blue Sun really legitimately a great deck before even any extra tools came out. Like I thought, like, oh, you don't have enough influence for enough like Ashes or something like that, and Ice. You want to play Eli? No, you don't need to play those things. Hive, Taurus, Curtain Wall all became amazing in that ID. Where before, like, you didn't want to really play Hive. You didn't want to play a lot of them anyway. Taurus was really expensive in core Weyland to use. You shot it off one time, and then they could even ignore it if they wanted. So I think giving the extra influence for some ice is good. It's definitely a good thing.
Do you think maybe that's the play? Is Blue Sun came out so close to Worlds, and now it came out kind of so close to this big box where another 3 IDs are going to be introduced. is it worth people's time to sit with Blue Sun a little more and experiment with it before they jump to these 3 new ones? Like, is this going to be the forgotten ID of Weyland?
Oh, no, this is going to be the best idea in Weyland forever. Like, it's really good. Like, you're never going to forget about this one. It's replaced, like, in the same way that NEH is replacing Core MBN, Blue Sun is going to replace Core Weyland, except for it's going to be even more thorough. Like the making news ability can be better than the near top ability, and it can be better enough that you want to play that ID. I don't think that like barring, like I said, like a recurring transaction, like if maybe if subliminal messaging was a transaction and you get 2 credits, you know, that sort of like X Factor economy card, sort of like Sundew is to RP. Unless you get something like that for Core Weyland, it's a lot worse than Blue Sun.
Now we've seen the ice that's coming, right? You know, we've taken a peek at the list. So not including those 3 IDs from the box, Weyland has 4 IDs right now currently in play.
Yeah.
You want to run down your how you ranking these? Is because it was interesting for you to say that Blue Sun was your top one. I think I agree with you, but I think there's still a lot of people that are leaning towards the building a better world. They love that transaction, and I've heard a lot of talk about, because we built it now, that there's a lot more advanceable ice. So what do you think?
Okay, so when the box comes out, Blue Sun's going to be the best one. And the second best one is either going to be building a better world or whatever. It's not Argus, is it? It's Argus, not Argus. Is it like Titan Transnational, the one that gets the advanced counter?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's either going to be one of those 2 that's better. Because we built it, gets a lot of tools. I'm not sure that they're good enough to make it a good deck, because none of them are like super impressive to me. But it might be. It's getting a lot of tools. So the second best one I think is going to be either one of those 2 or Core Weyland, maybe. But the point is that Blue Sun is, I'm sure that Blue Sun is much better than both Core Weyland and Grindel. I'm not sure about whether it's going to be much better or like which one of the other 2 is going to get better after the box. Like, I think it's going to be interesting to rank those 3. So I think Grindel's at the bottom. Maybe Core Weyland and Grindel are just like, it's hard for me to rank them. It's just hard for me to know. It's just easy for me to know right now. Blue Sun's the best. The other 2 are the worst. Or the other 3 are the worst. But because we built it's getting tools, so it could get better. And then the advancement counter one is pretty good. I don't think the one that deals 2 damage or a tag is very good at all. It's like an okay ability, but it's, I don't know. Maybe like something like PE could come out. Like a PE sort of horizontal low agenda point deck in Weyland. So maybe that could be good. I don't know. It's hard for me to rank right now because I didn't play them.
Are you somebody that plays everything? Or like, how do you pick your decks, Dan? Like,
okay, so it's a really easy. Here's a really easy formula. I play Netrunner, and when somebody beats me with a deck, then I take it.
I like that. That's simple math right there, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Well, see, I win most Netrunner games, and the ones that I lose are usually the decks that I know about. So, like, it's only like once every week or 2 weeks or something, somebody beats me with a deck that I haven't really seen before, and if you can beat me with it, it's probably at least somewhat good. So then I usually like take that idea and then I'll go build a list of my own. I'll start playing it around, and if it's good, I'll keep playing it.
So, and that doesn't matter what faction it is, right? Like,
no, not at all.
If you get like, you're not opposed to playing a certain style or a certain type of deck. You just want to find the most competitive deck out there and
maybe
play
not.
that.
Maybe it's not necessarily the most important thing to just find the best deck, but I want to find all the good decks and play with them enough that I have the best chance that I can when I play against them, even if I don't play them myself.
Right, and you know what? I think that's a very good point for a lot of people out there trying to make top 16 cuts, say like at these big tournaments. You really have to diversify, and it's easier to play against something when you've played it yourself.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you can play against, like if I'm playing Astrobiotics and I'm playing against Noise, I can play about it 10 times, and like by the third game, I'm already learning less than I would if I just switched sides. You know?
So are you intrigued, like, when something like this, like a box comes out, are you intrigued to be like, I'm going to start playing Weyland?
No, not Weyland. Because this is a box I don't like very much. Like, I'll try, like, for instance, like, when the last Jinteki box came out, I didn't really try Nisei Division because I knew what sort of deck would come out of it, and I thought that it was worse than PE. It's because it's in the same line. I tried Tenon Fast Advance for a second. I was like, you know, this deck is serviceable, but I don't think that it's ever going to be the best Fast Advance option. So I sort of stopped playing it after I played with it enough times. And then I tried Harmony Medtech with like a Glacier build, and I thought it was worse than RP. So, like, yeah, I'm going to give the new IDs a try, just to try them, even if I don't think they're going to be all that, because other people are going to play with. It's fun to try new things. So yeah, I'm gonna play them. I'm not like for this one. I'm gonna play the one that gives you an extra Atlas count for sure. I probably won't play much of the other ones, and I won't play because we built it unless somebody proves to me that it's actually good.
Right. I know this is jumping the gun again, but we've now seen big boxes come out for most of the factions. NBN excluded. How are you ranking? How are you ranking these boxes? Like, do you feel that like something like this comes out? Are you really hyped for a game to get a big box now, or have you been kind of let down by what's in these things?
Okay, so I started playing after Creation and Control came out, so I wasn't there to be excited about it. Sort of, it's a good set. I like a lot of things in it. I love Cerebral Imaging as an identity. I love Clone Chip, Daily Casts, Dirty Laundry. Were both of those in that set? I don't even remember. I bought all the things at once. So, but yeah, those cards are great. So yeah, that was a great set.
Yeah, I think Creation and Control added the most we've ever seen to.
Okay, so here's the best thing I think that happened with the boxes. In the first box, Shaper was a bad faction when it came out, and HB was the best faction. It diversified HB without making it any more powerful in the sense that it already was, and it made Shaper really legitimate. Same thing happened with Jinteki and Criminal for the most part. Security testing was a gigantic boost to Criminal, and so is Legwork to some degree. So, I mean, I don't know that you can say that it didn't boost Criminal, but Criminal's been getting relatively worse, I think. So it's okay. It didn't shoot it to the moon when it was already there or anything.
Yeah, it's not untouchable.
It made Jinteki from tied for the worst corp to pretty much the best corp, and Jinteki is the only corp with 2 tier 1 decks right now. P and RP are both tier 1 decks. It's the only corp that does that. So Jinteki, I think, if you count both of those things, ignoring the fact that maybe Astrobiotics is the better deck than either of the other two, it's still it has the most representatives at the top of the field. So, and then now this is going to come out. I don't think it really boosts Weyland at all. When Weyland just got a big boost in Blue Sun, it could have boosted Weyland more. But the important thing is that everybody's been itching for Anarch to be good. We're sick of Andy Kate everywhere at tournaments. Steel Skin's an awesome card. All sorts of new ways to play. Sick abilities on new identities is always exciting. So I think Fantasy Flight really killed it in the respect of how the faction balances change when they release boxes.
Are you so I'll hit this question up and then let Caleb grill you from one side. Are you surprised now to hear that the rotation's coming and big boxes aren't going to be cycled out, right? Because of the choice of the IDs that they've put into these big boxes, right? We haven't had any ID in a big box that has been significantly impacting on a tournament level.
That's about to change, though, I think. So either Valencia or Max, I think, is going to be tier 1, if not both. I'm not sure which one. I'm not sure if both. But I think one of them is going to be. They're both really good ability.
But do you agree with the other thing? We haven't seen,
with regard to, yeah.
So cerebral imaging aside, that was in, that's either here nor there.
Come out, cerebral imaging won't matter.
Yeah.
Really invalidate Tenon, cerebral imaging, all kinds of IDs. I think it's a sort of poorly designed card, even if it does have a direct impact on the metagame. For the time being, that is really welcome because we're sick of NEH. But I think that the fact that it's going to kill other decks is bad. Like, you would have been better off just not printing Near Earth Hub with so many influence and not printing Fast Track. Like, if you just did that, I would have been happier. But
And like from the runner side, we haven't really seen. There's been some good abilities.
There's been some decent runners, like, I don't know, Kit's okay.
Yes, but
Kit's
see
not
that's how you end.
Exile's not okay. But yeah, it's just okay.
That's how you end the sentence, right? Everything
Ken's
is
not a
okay.
yeah, Ken's not a bad runner at all. Ken's a good runner, but he's just overshadowed by Andy and Gabe, who are better runners.
Right. And I wish Silhouette got more love. I do love the 40 card decks.
Okay, here's what I thought when I saw Silhouette. I'm like, okay, 40 card deck, right? Andy starts the game. All right, so after you draw your hand, Silhouette starts the game with 35 cards in your deck. Andy starts the game with 36 cards in his deck, but it has a million more. Yeah, it's just one more. Like, oh, really? Deck thinning? I don't want to deck thin. Just have the cards in your hand. I've been deck thinning for a long time before this card came out.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. We were talking about that not too long ago, Jameson and I. But
yeah, so you want 40 cards for consistency, huh? I got a consistency here. Start with 9.
Yeah.
Okay, so with regard to the rotation and the boxes not going, I think that like rotation is such a long way off that I don't even take them at their word for how they're gonna do rotation, because like by the time it's like actually rolling around, they could easily change their mind. It's like a million years from now. I don't want to play Netrunner then.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true, but I mean, it's just the standard question we have to ask to.
Okay, do I think like the box? It's interesting that they chose not to rotate the boxes. Yeah, I don't know that I like it. I don't see. So here's the thing: the way they worded it, they made it out to be like they could release a second edition core set, which I think is a really important option to be able to replace the core set. They're not going to reprint like Creation Control 2.0. Like, that's not going to happen. So that means that all those cards are definitely stuck in by their own. I think that's a bad idea. Like, I don't think it's just like a restriction they don't want to put on themselves when they don't have any idea what the metagame is going to be like in 5 years. So do I think that, like, what do I think with regard to the boxes staying in? I think it's a bad idea. It might not be a really bad idea, because by the time rotation comes around, maybe you'll want to keep those cards in the set. But I think that sticking to their guns, if they stick to their guns about it, no. I don't. I think that it's like, so I come from like a Magic background, and in Standard, everything rotates. They can choose to keep cards in by reprinting them, which is always a good option to have because there are cards that people want to play with. But they don't commit themselves to never rotating certain cards, and I think that's important. So I would have been happier if they didn't say the boxes would stay in. I'd be happier if they just said, we don't know what we're going to do with the boxes yet.
Would you be happy with a more aggressive rotation, or do you think that where it sits right now is good enough?
I would have been happier with a more aggressive rotation because it's a really long way down the line before anything rotates. And I'm not sure that once the card pool gets that big, the metagame is going to change enough from one data pack being released at a time. So, like, basically, like, the bigger you let the card pool get, the smaller the impact any individual data pack has on the metagame. So, assuming that there isn't, like, some kind of giant power creep going on. So, I think that right now, data packs have a pretty good impact on the metagame at this size card pool. I wouldn't want it to get much smaller. And the way that they're going to rotate, it's going to be much smaller.
Aren't they dropping whole cycles, though? Not just packs?
Yeah. But the thing is like, so they want to have, 5 cycles in at a time? Right now we have 2.5 cycles in at a time.
Yeah.
Because it's just, right now we have 2.5 or something. So, like, 3 years down the road, we're going to have more data packs out. The next data pack comes out. Either it's powerful enough that you replace other cards in your deck with those cards, or it's like the power level of any individual data pack, even right now, is going down. And the reason isn't because the cards are necessarily that much worse. It's because you have to take other cards into your deck to put these cards in. And the more cards there are, the harder it is to fit a new card without it becoming, just strictly more powerful than the card that's already out, which you don't really want to be, continuously printing cards like that.
Yeah, you don't want to make everything obsolescent as you carry on producing these cards.
Right. So I'm not sure. Like, they could do it. It could stay good. Like, it's. I think it's going to be a challenge for Lucas and the playtesters and developers of the game to keep it super fresh over a long period of time with this rotation schedule. I don't think it's impossible, but
and some of that's going to lie on your shoulders too. There.
Yeah, I know. I get to make a card. I haven't picked yet.
We'll get to that.
Obligatory tell you what my card ideas are. Eli 2.0, 1 credit, HB Ice, 1 influence, somewhere between 0 and 2 strength, like just some negligible amount of barrier strength. You can spend click to break and the run. If the runner spends click to break the subs on Eli, they gain a credit. So that's my first idea. It's sort of like a HB pup. You can click through it for 2 and gain a credit. So you get like a little bit back. That's why it's cheaper than regular Eli. But the way runners work nowadays, the click is better than the credit because you can always trade a click for a credit. So like maybe if you've got Katie Jones and security testing out, you don't want to be spending click to get through because you can make more money another way.
Right.
The other idea that I had was based on my cat. Where's the big cat? I'm gonna get my cat.
I saw there was an orange one there just hiding on the windowsill.
There's little Sammy. Sammy's the other idea for my runner deck. What? So Sammy's a criminal runner, and at the start of your turn, you make a random run on a central server for no click.
How do you? How is it randomized?
Dice. Play with dice like a true champion. All right, guys. I think I'm getting about ready to wrap it up. It's time for me to go to bed. But thanks for having me.
All right, cool. We appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no problem. I'll talk to you guys later. We got some stuff in the works at StimHack. We're gonna have some more Octagon tournaments going forward. We got the league going on. Come down. We got the tournament winning deck lists, part of the website, very popular. We got great forums. We're talking about competitive Netrunner. So swing by, make an account, join StimHack League, get some great games in on Octagon, get better. Win championships and shit.
Just like that.
Yeah, that's how you do it. So have a good night, guys, and make sure to let Greg know that he owes me $100 whenever you get the chance.
Yeah, and that's not the reason why he's not
Here's
on
my
tonight.
email. Tell him you can PayPal it to me. And when I get it, I'll stop bothering him about it on every possible place on the internet about now.
We'll make sure to pass it on.
Thank you. Talk to you guys later.
Take care.
Take care, Dan.
All right, Caleb. Just any last minute words to sign off here on this one?
No, I was kind of excited to ask him because I'm sure a lot of the people that are going to watch this video also watched the live broadcast of his final game, and I was just going to ask him if he could hear his blood pumping in his ears. You know what I mean? Just from the way that the game was going, how tense it was, and I don't know. It must have been quite the experience to have all eyes on you like that. So I was hoping to touch on that, but maybe that's for another day.
Yeah, we just so he dropped off a little too quickly for us, and now our screen is all mucked out.
Oh, am I still on there?
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
you're on all three. So.
Oh, sweet. That's perfect. That's how it should be.
Yeah. So I don't know, Les. Thanks very much for joining us tonight with Dan, and I think we'll sign off from here. Caleb, since it's just you on there, you want to wave bye to the people?
Oh, goodbye, everybody. Hey, have a great night and stay safe. And good luck on exams for everybody out there. I got mine starting tomorrow. So.
Happy holidays and whatever you're celebrating.
Yeah, whatever it may be. Kwanzaa, probably.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a bunch, guys. Appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight.
Take care.